Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello? Hi, everyone. Thanks for waiting. We're just getting started. If you can turn on your camera so we can see you and not just talk to blank screens, because that's kind of awkward. And everyone's starting to join, so that's great. Sorry that we're a bit late. We had to wait for another session to finish up, so thanks for your patience. Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
We're in.
Yay.
Sorry. Everyone's coming in, so that's great. We're at 39 people, 41. So thanks so much, Jenna.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Me too.
Hi, everyone in the chat.
Hi, everybody. If you can turn on your video, it'd be great to see you here today.
Sure.
Awesome.
Give us a wave. All right, well, maybe we'll jump in since we, there you go. Hi, Sandra.
Hi. Awesome. Camille, Ashley, Anmal, we can see you. That's great.
Awesome. Well, maybe I'll start sharing my screen now and we'll get going. All right, can everyone see that? Can you see that, Nicole?
Yep, sorry, I can see you.
Awesome.
My name here is Laura, but I'm Nicole, and I'll be monitoring the chat. Just, you know, we encourage everyone to get engaged in our chat, ask questions, and I'll be kind of helping Jenna out with that, and she'll be going over our presentation today.
And Nicole, what is your full name?
My name's Nicole Cicerone. I'll put it in the chat.
You are the facilitator, yes?
Jenna will be facilitating. I'm here to support her.
Oh, okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Sorry about those technical difficulties starting off there, but I'm really excited and I'm so glad to have each of you here virtually with us today for Social Procurement 101. If you have no idea what social procurement is, that's okay. That's what this session is for. And hopefully by the end of the session, you'll have a bit of a better idea, but if not, that's okay too. It took me a long time to really fully understand what it is. And there will be another chance to learn more at the end of this week. So I encourage everyone to attend that as well. But I will say this, that once I really did get social procurement and how it works, I was sold, and I really think it's worth taking that time to learn and digest it. And really my goal for today's session is just to generate some excitement and some intrigue and just create a space for some dialogue and discussion. And just so you know, you guys are on my other screen, so that's why looks like I'm not talking to you. All right. So on the agenda for today, so I'll talk about what we do at SENCO and what SENCO is, how social enterprise and social procurement are defined, what a supplier and purchaser are, and what their roles are. And then we'll dive into a case study together. So just some Zoom keeping items for this session. I will ask that everyone keeps themselves muted until we get to the Q&A at the end. The session will be recorded, and I'm also recording the audio for a project that SENCO is doing. You can keep your videos on if your internet allows. I encourage you, like Nicole said, just to ask questions and make comments in the chat as we go. And then there is a raise your hand function. So if there's something really pressing that you want me to answer, feel free to do that and I'll try and get to it as well. But if not, I will try and get to everything at the end. All right. So you may have seen these already this week. So these are the changemaker pathways. So this session technically is part of the social entrepreneur pathway, but I'm really curious to know what other pathways might resonate with each of you, how you might see yourself in this space, what you identify with. So I'm going to try out this fun Zoom feature. So if you see in your little toolbar, your Zoom toolbar, there should be a button that says annotate with a little like pencil, or you might have to go to the more button as well. So when you click that, you'll see like text, draw, stamp. So if you click stamp, there's some different like stickers that you can choose from. And yeah, so maybe we'll just take 1 minute, pick a sticker, and just put a sticker on any of these pathways that really resonate with you. I'm just interested to see where you're all at. I'll do mine. Nice. Got a researcher.
Sorry, I have no idea how you get that done. Can you explain that again, please?
That's okay. We're trying it out, but if it doesn't work, that's no
I
problem.
have no options for like more or anything like that. So
I've lost my mouse, but maybe we'll just do that. Well, screen is frozen. Nicole, can you force stop sharing my screen by any chance? Oh. Okay, there we go. So let me do this again. So if you, stop sharing and then I can share again. All right, so clearly we won't do that again. There we go. All right, so essentially, whatever pathway you feel you do connect with most and resonate with most, there are tons of resources out there for you and people here to guide you and help you to be that change maker that you want to be. All right, so I'll give you a little bit more background on me. So I'm currently the coordinator of SENCO, which stands for the Social Enterprise Network of Central Ontario. SENCO is an initiative of the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation at Georgian College. So I also work with a charity in Barrie called Redwood Park Communities as their social enterprise and project advisor. Redwood provides affordable housing and supportive community for families and individuals in Barrie who are experiencing homelessness, poverty, or fleeing violence. And they also now operate a furniture bank that provides high quality donated furniture to households in need of affordable furniture. A specific project that SENCO is working on that I'll talk more about later is the Community Benefit Purchasing Project. So I'm the media specialist for this project. So essentially I lead the marketing and communications piece. And I've also previously worked with Buy Social Canada, who focuses on social procurement out in Vancouver, as well as a construction social enterprise called Community Builders in Barrie. All right, so let's talk about SENCO. Like I mentioned, it stands for the Social Enterprise Network of Central Ontario. It's an initiative of the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation. So SENCO, we work with social enterprises, budding social entrepreneurs, organizations, intermediaries, and community leaders to support innovative economic approaches to strengthen our communities. Our goal is to be the bridge to new knowledge, resources, and supporting business practices to achieve financial growth and also sustainability through social enterprise. We aim to build capacity for this type of work across all of Central Ontario, specifically focusing on the 7 regions where there is a Georgian campus. So one of our main areas of focus at SENCO is digital storytelling. We've really leaned into this over the last couple of years in the form of both video and audio. In 2018, we came out with a video series highlighting social enterprises across the region, which you can find on our website. And we also released a 2-part audio documentary last year that explores social enterprise in a little bit more depth. And you can also find this directly on our website or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or SoundCloud. So to provide a little bit more context around social procurement, we really do first need to understand social enterprise. So you know what, because we're short on time, I'm going to skip this video, but this video is on SENCO's website. It's a 1-minute intro to social enterprise. All right, so here's a couple of definitions we often use. I won't read them, but I just want to highlight a couple of key pieces. So in the first definition here, it says that social enterprise achieves a social, cultural, and/or environmental purpose. This is really important because social enterprise is a very holistic model, and often a social enterprise will create an impact in each of these 3 areas simultaneously through the work that they're doing. And in the second definition, it says that social entrepreneurs are the essential corrective force and that they are system changing. So what does that mean? In my mind, it implies that there's something that needs to be corrected and that systems need changing. Because right now, the systems that we have in place must be in some way failing the people and the environment within them. So it's really important to acknowledge that system level perspective and understand that social enterprise is just a tool, really, and it might not be the solution to all of our problems, but it certainly is a start to creating that level of change. So sometimes it helps to separate social enterprise into social and enterprise. So when we think of social, we think mission and vision driven by change. And then when we think enterprise, we think business and driven by profit. So social enterprise really is the happy medium between these two. And it essentially takes the social mission of your typical nonprofit or charity, and it applies business and market tools to achieve that mission. So this is just one last diagram to help visualize this. So a nonprofit or a charity exists to meet community needs, a business exists to meet community wants, and then social enterprise exists to meet community needs while simultaneously meeting community wants. So that's social enterprise in a nutshell. And now we'll get into social procurement, which is what you're all here for. So I thought it would be helpful to first understand what procurement is, let alone social procurement. So procurement is defined as the act of obtaining goods or services, typically for business purposes. Procurement is most commonly associated with businesses because companies need to solicit services or purchase goods, usually on a relatively large scale. So if everyone if that's making sense so far, maybe just give me a quick thumbs up. I can't really see people, but awesome, we got some thumbs up. Thanks, Sandra. All right, so now looking at social procurement, I have a couple definitions here. One's from the City of Toronto, and they say that social procurement is the achievement of strategic social, economic, and workforce development goals using an organization's process of purchasing goods and services. So we have that purchasing goods and services piece with the added component of achieving social goals. And Buy Social Canada says that social procurement is leveraging a social value from your existing procurement. Social procurement adds a social value consideration to your current evaluation of price, quality, and environment of the goods and services you purchase. So again, the same act of purchasing goods and services with an additional and very intentional consideration for social and environmental impact. Okay, hoping that all is making sense so far. So this is David LePage. He's the managing partner of Social Canada. And we'll maybe just watch the first, couple minutes there. He sums it up well.
So social purchasing is really quite simple. How do we use our existing purchasing to create social value? So social procurement basically creates a social value from our existing purchasing. So when we think about the traditional procurement process, as you can see in this slide, there's a demand side, which is the people who are purchasing things, and there is the supply side, which is the person or the entity, the company that is providing the goods or services, referred to, and we'll talk about this in this presentation in this module, that's the supply side. So we have a demand side, people who are buying things, and we have the supply side. And together, when they have interrelationship, they buy and sell, that's called procurement. So when we think about social procurement, we're talking about the same experience. We're talking about there's a demand side, someone is buying something, and there's a supply side, somebody is supplying the goods or services. But in this situation, we're adding another component to the exchange. We're adding a social value into this exchange in the marketplace. And then we have social procurement. We've got the what is social purchasing. Now I want to talk about why would you do social purchasing? Let's think about purchasing with a social value. It actually can include anything you buy. So everybody has to, if you're a small business or a big business, people have things, some people buy trucks. Everybody or a lot of people buy office supplies, people use couriers, caterers, landscapers. There's not anything that we can remove from the goods and services that people purchase. Because as we explore social purchasing, we're going to find that everything you buy, goods or services, can be included in a social purchasing program. One of the real
So that video is about 12 minutes long in total. So we have the link there. So if you are interested in watching the full version and learning a little bit more, feel free to do that. So David talked about supply and demand. So we have suppliers. These suppliers provide a good or service in the marketplace. So what types of suppliers are involved in social procurement? Common suppliers are social enterprises, social purpose organizations, or diverse suppliers. So these can either be nonprofit or for-profit, but in all cases, the money that these suppliers are making supports some kind of social or environmental cause. So here are some examples of suppliers in our regions that would fit into these categories. So Building Up is a construction social enterprise that provides building and renovation services while also hiring and training at-risk and marginalized men and women in Toronto. Operation Grow is a social enterprise in Midland that sells locally farmed organic produce, and they hire and provide support services for women who have fled violence. Uplift Black is a Black-owned organization that provides supports for Black youth. And Raw Carrot is a social enterprise that sells soup, and they employ and train people with disabilities. So each of these organizations prioritize their social mission, but they also are selling a good or service that people and other organizations want to buy. So now let's talk about purchasers. So this is the demand side. Purchasers are looking to buy because they have a need to be fulfilled. Typical purchasers are public institutions, so colleges and universities, government, federal, provincial, municipal levels, and corporations. Some examples, so we have Georgian College, York University, post-secondary does a ton of buying. They need food services, maintenance, physical resources like desks and office supplies, waste management services, transportation services. It really can be anything like that video mentioned. And York University actually has developed their own social procurement policy, which is pretty cool. And similarly, the city of Barrie or government of Ontario would require similar services. And then you have the private buyers that purchase enormous amounts of materials and packaging and marketing, et cetera, the list goes on. So we have suppliers who are providing a good or service and purchasers who are procuring those goods and services. So essentially, social procurement is what happens when these purchasers make the conscious decision to buy from these suppliers who are already meeting social and environmental goals. And this relationship, which usually is a legally binding relationship, is simply just using already existing processes and budgets to create not just economic value, but social, environmental, cultural, and community value as well. And there's so many benefits to both buyers and suppliers to do this, which I won't get into today, but it really is a mutually beneficial outcome. All right, so I know for me, examples help me a lot to make sense of really complex things. So I'm going to walk through a real life case study of social procurement in practice and hopefully allow you all to participate a little bit. So Park Vancouver is a giant casino and resort in downtown Vancouver. And you can imagine the millions of dollars that it took to construct and manage this project. And this is a really great example of how dollars were spent very intentionally with the purpose of benefiting the local community. So the supplier is an organization called Embers Staffing Solutions, which is an agency that provides transitional employment opportunities to residents within Vancouver's downtown East Side community, which is also known as Canada's poorest postal code. And then we have two purchasers. One is the city of Vancouver, and the other is Ellis Don, which is a nationwide construction and building services company. So what is the project and what was the relationship between the supplier and the purchasers? So in order to construct this resort, which consisted of 2 hotels and 8 restaurants, the city of Vancouver entered into a job creation agreement with the resort developers. So this meant that the casino was required to employ people from the downtown East Side. At least 10% of labor needed to be hired from the local community, and at least 10% of materials needed to be purchased locally. So Ellis Don was the general contractor on the project, and they were responsible for doing this hiring. So they hired part of their labor through Ember Staffing Solutions. So the first question I have here, what is the product and or service being purchased? It's not a trick question. I just want to make sure it's clear for everyone. So maybe just throw it in the chat.
I think it's the labor, it's the service. They are offering labor for the construction.
Exactly. Yep. General and skilled labor. That's exactly it. So I'm hoping we can do a quick breakout room activity. So you see the second question there. What potential social, environmental, and economic impacts do you see with this agreement, this relationship, this contract? And I might even make it more specific to think about what is the top social impact, what is the top environmental impact, and the top economic impact. So there's no right answer to this. It's really just to get some discussion going and to just bounce ideas off of each other and think about, yeah, like the impacts of the purchasing to this scale. Just see there's some stuff in the chat here.
So about 4 rooms, Jenna? Or
There's 43. I would even do, so there's like around 5 people in each group.
okay. So about 8 rooms. Okay. So once I create the breakout rooms, you'll have to accept to enter your breakout room. So just be sure that you do that, and then you can start working on those questions. How much time did you want in these rooms?
5 minutes, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll keep it. Yeah, we're running out of time a little bit, so we'll keep it at 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So there's still a few people here that haven't joined their breakout room. Himanshi, Manjot Beer, Gladu, Sijo, Jatin.
So I'm wondering if they maybe stepped away from their computer. That's okay. Oops.
So there are some new people joining the call, so we kind of have our own little breakout room here. I don't.
If anyone wants to, if anyone in the main room here wants to chat, feel free. I am going to put, if I put something in the chat, will it come up to the breakout rooms?
I'm not sure. I
don't think so.
think so.
So I'm gonna just put the question in the chat, and then I think you can broadcast a message because you're the host. So maybe just put it in there so they remember, because I realized I didn't put anything in the chat. Thanks. Hey, Ashley.
Hello back.
Welcome back, Anand.
3 of us now.
Are people coming back?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. All right. So hopefully you were able to have a bit of a good discussion. And I know we're running short on time, but I just want to allow anyone who wants to share what your group chatted about. Feel free to write what you came up with in the chat, and then we'll keep moving. Maybe just give it a minute. Kelly. It adds financial resources to lower income areas, gives job and training opportunities to people who wouldn't normally get these opportunities. Putting money into the poorest areas allow the community to rebuild itself. That's awesome, Kelly. Yeah, exactly. And the great thing is that there's so many impacts. Like, it really is impossible to nail down what is the most impactful piece of this. What is the top social impact, because there's so many, and again, there's no wrong answer really. For social, it allows us to be more engaged with our communities by treating everyone fairly and recognizing the social issues around the area we live in. I love that focus on, like, both of these answers really touched on the community element and engaging with the people within that community. Love that. I think the social and economic impacts are connected. One gets increased, the other goes up. Exactly. So they are all connected. And you can't really have one without the other. You can't have a social impact and ignore environmental impact. That's such a great reflection. Provides employment, development opportunities, and helps the economy on a local level. And a social point of view, it also helps in advancing diverse culture as well as social inclusion. Those are all such amazing answers. Wow, I am so impressed. Yeah, just being conscious of time, I'm going to keep moving. So I did want to share with you some of the tangible results that came from this project. So over 20% of the construction labor was hired locally, which was double that 10% target. 11.7% or $75 million was spent in the local economy. And Embers paid out almost $1.5 million in wages to over 500 local employees who earned an average wage of $19 per hour, which is, I think, just above the living wage in Vancouver. That might have changed recently though. And this project will create a minimum of 180 jobs or $8.5 million in wages for community residents. All incredible. And results are extremely important. But where I really want to focus is taking it that one step further and considering the outcomes, which a lot of you actually touched on some of these. So what was the effect of these results? Why does it matter that all of these jobs were created and money stayed in the local economy? So these are just a few outcomes from this project. Again, there's so many others, but there's reduced homelessness in the downtown east side, reduced environmental impact for the city because there was less transportation needed for materials, empowered community members since they had their voice heard in this giant infrastructure project, and they're committed to their local community, and an increased employment rate and economic stability because people are gaining the skills necessary to be a part of the workforce, gaining experience, keeping a job. And these are the outcomes that really matter, and really is why this work and why social procurement is so important. All right, so quick summary, key takeaways of this session. I know I touched on so many things and it's a little bit overwhelming, but here are just some of the key takeaways. So procurement is purchasing on a large scale, social procurement, purchasing on a large scale with a social value consideration. Suppliers provide a good or service in the marketplace and achieve a social and or environmental goal. Purchasers procure goods and services from suppliers with a formal process and budget. And then lastly, results are great, but outcomes are where it's at. So if you're going to remember anything from this session, these are sort of the key pieces. All right, so I'm curious to know how you guys are feeling. Again, like I said, I know it's a lot all at once. But I'm curious to know, was there something that really stuck out to you, something you found interesting, something you're really confused about, or maybe something that you want to explore a little bit more? So maybe just feel free to shoot something in the chat. Maybe over the next minute or so, I'll just allow people to share any reflections or feelings in the chat. Thanks. And I think, like Nicole mentioned at the beginning, so this session is recorded and will be uploaded onto the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation YouTube channel. So you can always go back and listen again, digest a little bit more. Awesome. And I really encourage everyone to, like Navdeep suggested, is doing a little more research, figuring out what are some different suppliers and purchasers where you live, and looking at where this might exist already. Yeah, like I strongly encourage you to explore further. Company social enterprises in the construction field. So the construction industry is actually really big for social enterprise because it's a skilled trade. And so a lot of social enterprises use that opportunity to train workers and allow them to develop skills so that they can then get another job in construction or in another industry. Yeah, so that's a really common industry for social enterprise. Yeah, awesome. Awesome.
Hi, Jenna, it's Nicole. If I could just make a comment too, because I know we have a lot of co-op students
Yeah.
On the line here and learning about social procurement, maybe for the first time. You know, this information is really important because when people are applying for jobs, this is some information that they can find in their research, and you know, it can help them guide their job search. Like, is it important for them to work for a company that has these kinds of values?
Yeah.
And you know, it could really impress a future employer if they've done digging beyond like the mission, vision, values, and like really find out more about what the company does in their community and in terms of social procurement. So that could be something for students to consider in the future as part of their research when looking into a company before going for a job interview or trying to show the company how their values would make them a good fit for that organization.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Yeah, and I can speak from experience. Like when I was in school, I had co-op opportunities as well. And once I heard about social enterprise, I sought out social enterprises or bigger companies that are doing that type of work. I sought them out to work for them because I was just so intrigued. And the thing I found is that if you seek them out, they want young people and students getting involved in what they're doing, because they really value the skills that young people bring. So I would just say, do not be afraid to reach out and seek out these companies that you're really passionate about, because they also want to work with you. Yeah, so I want to make sure I just get through some of these last slides. Oops. So I wanted to share just a little bit more about this community benefit purchasing project that SENCO is working on right now. So this is an overall timeline of our programming until summer 2021. So you can see this is where we are right now. So we've launched 2 questionnaires, one for suppliers, one for purchasers. So we're in that phase right now of collecting all of that data. And we also just finished a fall series connecting with different social procurement experts across the country. But what I really would encourage, if anyone is interested in learning more and diving a little bit deeper, we'll be doing a session or a series in the winter, reconnecting with these same experts that we talked with in the fall. And they will be sharing other case studies and going into a lot more detail about like what were the different tools used to make these contracts successful. So if you subscribe to our newsletter at senco.io, you will get all of the updates on this winter series. We don't have any registration links up yet, so if you do want to be informed about those, yeah, subscribe to our newsletter and you'll get all of that information. And then looking at this week specifically, there's a couple other opportunities specifically focused on social enterprise and social procurement that, again, I would encourage everyone to attend if there's still space in these sessions. So tomorrow from 2 to 3, we have Ellie Green and Shaylin McKay chatting about social enterprise specifically in Central Ontario. They have this really cool mapping tool that they're going to be using. So I highly encourage that one. And then also on Friday, we have another session specifically focused on social procurement. So this is our community benefit purchasing team who's working on this project right now. And so we're all coming together on Friday to do a bit of a panel, answer any of your questions. So again, I know that you probably have a lot of questions right now, but yeah, over the next couple days, you can let it sink in a little bit and come on Friday and chat with us and ask us some of these questions. We're really excited to chat with you all again. And I do have the Eventbrite links, so maybe I will put those in just when I stop sharing my screen here. Yeah, so thank you so much for listening. I know I zoomed through all of that content, so we have 4 minutes left. So if anyone has any burning questions, I will allow some time for questions. And feel free to take your video off and ask your question if you feel like that as well. Yeah, potential networking. Yeah, Ashley, who's going to be on the panel on Friday, she's on the call. So she's saying would love to see you all there. There's Ashley.
Thanks so much, Jenna. I'm thinking I'll stop the recording now.